Hey guys, it's Jesse here. I wanted to talk a little bit today about harmonization. I've actually gotten a couple requests, a couple comments regarding harmonization, and seems to be some interest in what I'm doing with some of my chord progressions and some of my loops that I've been using on my videos. So I'd like to talk a little compositionally today. Not so much doing any soloing, just doing a little discussion about how to boost your chord voicings a little bit and make them more interesting to the listener. I think a lot of times these days when you hear rhythm parts, guitar parts in particular, the chord changes are really unimaginative and the voicings are really boring, to be honest. And I think this is one of the things that can really set guitarists apart, even if you're not like a die-hard jazz or fusion guy with a lot of hip, harmonic knowledge. I think that just changing a few voicings around and adding some color can make a big difference and take a so-so song and turn it into a sweet song. So what I'm going to talk about today are just some really basic concepts that anybody can utilize, even if you have limited music theory knowledge. What I'm going to do as an example then is to play a small, pretty standard chord progression using the standard way that most people would probably play it, and then play it again using a way I would probably reharmonize it, using some more hit voicings. What I want to talk about today is something called slash chords. And what I mean by slash chords is when you take a chord voicing, set of voicings, and you play it over a different root. Okay? So I'm going to play an example of this, what I'm talking about. Okay? Here's a great example, and a pretty easy one that anybody can do. Say you're taking an A root. Okay? Say you want to play something that sounds like it's in the tonal center of A. Well, of course you could just play an A chord. But check out what happens when I play a B over that A. I think that sounds a lot more hip, a lot more majestic, a lot more open, expansive. And again, that's just a B over an A. And then I put that nice little E on top for color. The fifth, Okay? So what that is, basically what you're doing is, if you're in a given key, you're taking a chord one whole step away, a major chord one whole step away, and inserting it over the original root. So it's called a B over A, slash chord. That's why it's called a slash chord, because you'd write B slash A. B chord, B major chord over an A root. Another great sounding thing to do is to take a major chord a step down from your root. So take the chord one step down. We'll take G, for instance. Right? So you can play a G chord. That's fine. We've all heard that a million times. But what you could do is you could play, like, say, an F major against the G root, and you'd get something like this. And again, I think that just sounds really hip. You can even make it more hip by playing, adding the major 7 to that F chord and playing an F major 7 over G. Okay? Hopefully you can hear, the coolness. And then the last one I want to discuss, at least for today, one that I use quite a lot, is actually taking a major chord a fifth away from the root and using that over the root. So using G again as an example, because it's really easy to get these voicings in G, is to take a D major chord and substitute that over a G root, and then you get this really sweet sound. So again, I'm just taking a D major chord and I'm using that over a G bass note. So you can hear, you get some really, really sweet things going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little chord progression now and demonstrate for you using kind of a typical way of, you know, what you might hear someone play, and then I'm going to reharmonize it using these slash chords. And I'm purposely going to use all the slash chords that I just demonstrated for you, okay? So the chord progression typically would be A to G, F sharp minor, back to G, and then back to A, okay? So something like that. Again, I'll play that one more time. Just A to G, F sharp minor to G to A. Okay? So now, what I'm going to do is, instead of playing an A major chord for my first chord, I'm going to play B over A. Then when I go down to what would have been the G major chord, I'm going to play an F major 7 against G. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play, instead of just your standard F sharp minor, I'm going to go a step further. I'm not even just going to do F minor 7. I'm actually going to turn this into a dominant chord, but it's going to be an F sharp flat 13, flat 9, which has kind of a minor sound to it because of your extensions. It's a very jazzy chord. And then going back up to where the G would have been, I'm going to go using a D over G. Okay? So here's how it sounds all together now, the new revised, revoiced version. So I think just revoicing that pretty standard chord progression like that makes it sound 10 times more more sophisticated, more unique. And I use a lot of these devices in the songwriting with my own band. Good question. And I think it really makes your rhythm parts stick out. I think it makes your writing stick out, and I think it makes you, you know, just more knowledgeable about what you're doing with voicings, which is something I think that's very neglected these days in guitar playing. So that's all. If you have any questions about this, feel free to leave a comment. Also, please rate this video highly if you dig it, and we got some more coming soon. Thanks. Peace.